Can you watch it? Facebook Live? I don't know whether the lead is working or not.
Yeah, you are live.
It's
You
running?
are live and 11 people are watching.
Okay, so, but it's not showing the catch up on the...
It's what?
Okay. I can't see when it's... Yeah. It's finished already.
24 people are watching in this platform. I think you should start now.
Okay, I'm going to start here.
Yeah, I think.
Well, g'day everybody. Good morning. I'm not sure whether this is working right or not. The lead-in video was a bit all over the place. So, yeah, okay. So here we go. Anyway, for some reason it wasn't performing as well. Good. G'day from Les Sables d'Olonne. That's where our office is, and it's hot and sticky and overcast right now. Anyway, that's the home of the Vendée Globe, the Golden Globe, and actually, right now, this week, it's the Mini Transat, the Class 650 Mini Transat. I think it's starting next weekend. So there's a race village out there, and we overlook the Vendée Marina here. It's a beautiful office and quite a bit of activity going on down there. So we look forward to checking them out. That's kind of cool. Anyway, the other thing is that, as you probably know, the team has been a bit scattered, but we'll be all on deck starting from Monday. And then we'll be a bit more regular with some of the SoundClouds that are happening, because some entrants are calling in. Not all of them. That's the interesting part. Some are settling in and they've missed their calls. We've rescheduled the Wednesday calls to today, and Jane processes those, puts them up on SoundCloud. So we're a little bit behind, and it's a bit disjointed for all those reasons of everyone settling down, the entrants and ourselves. But starting next week, I think you'll see there'll be a regular thing to look out for. Every day there's about 3 entrants that call, and we record that, put it up on SoundCloud. Same with the tweets. You follow the tweets straight onto Twitter. And just to explain that, the entrants don't actually put them on Twitter. They're not allowed to. All of the comms, the satellite communications, only come to race control. We then process them and put them up on Twitter. And then usually once a day, Jane will compile those into a summary, translate them into English and French and so on, or vice versa, and put them up on Facebook. So that's sort of some of the things that are going on. Anyway, a lot of things happening on the tracker itself, which is fantastic in terms of the fleet. There's this load coming through, so I think we'll just get straight into that and show you what's going on. It's really interesting at the moment, a little bit dynamic, and I think that's me here. So here we go. I'll just push that back a bit. And we'll talk about what's going on overall. I think you can probably see that on this enlargement. This low is, affecting the whole fleet. And you probably may have noticed that Le Spirit Equipe took off to the west to try and get in the right area to get following breezes, or certainly breezes on the beam. And the other group, which was Neptune and Triana and also Outlaw, would have had headwinds. It's progressed quite a bit already, and now they're just about through. The lead group got the break on everyone. They've come through. They won't be affected by headwinds. They're just boring away. And the tail enders, we gave the forecast and position of this low pressure system to the whole fleet, which gave them a competitive advantage, gave everyone an advantage, because they knew exactly where it was. And we didn't know whether they would be affected by these strong winds, and they didn't have to be if they didn't want to, but they were going to get, moderate headwinds. So everyone's taking advantage of that. You can see the tail enders. They've immediately shot out to the west to try and get on the other side of the low, going around in a counterclockwise direction to get favorable wind directions. It's all kind of very interesting right now. So we'll treat it once again. We'll talk about the tail enders first, then the mid fleet, and then the leaders. So I'm going to just build this up a bit right now, so we can look at the tail enders. I'm including Explorer in that. Come on, Explorer, hurry up. You need to join the middle group again. But by the look of this, there's quite a bit of wind in this color gradient, and that can't be the case, because if you look at the speed here, even White Shadow is only doing 5 knots. And yet this wind gradient that's showing is suggesting there's probably 30, 35 knots. the sea would be, or 30 knots, 35. Same here for Galiana. Now, there's no way Galiana would be doing 3.9 knots right now if this wind gradient was true. And you can never tell with the forecasting exactly what's happening. This windy graphic is a combination of a few different computer models. And it's in my opinion now, what's going on here, it's not quite correct. Part of that is also due to the fact that this low pressure system is moving very rapidly, and it means it's a little bit hard to predict. And I can show you that if I just pull this back here, and I'm now going to move the weather across. I've hit the weather forecasting button, so the boat positions will stay the same, but every hour you can I hit this button, which is the right hand button, the right hand tab. It moves at an hour, and you can see how quick it's moving. There's another hour. It's moving very rapidly to the south, right? And then it's forming up in a distinct way. And you can see now the center is concentrated in one spot. You've got these circular breezes going around, and that's going to play into the hand of this tail ender group, and you can see already it's gone light. So I think this was happening a little bit ahead of the actual forecast that it's shown here. So there we go, another hour. You see there's light winds. Now, the good news for Explorer is Explorer's far enough south to get this southeasterly breeze, which is going to push her around quite nicely. Whereas the guys up the top here, this group of 5 are going to get lighter winds, but they're in the perfect position to make the most of it. The sea state will be interesting here now. In fact, let's have a look, because that big wind that went past would have put some big seas. Yeah, there you go. So they're going to have light winds, but they're going to have this gradient here showing 4-meter seas. So they've got big seas, light winds. They'll be flopping around a lot. Explorers in slightly heavier have a stronger wind gradient, but the wind, the interesting thing here is it's showing that the wind direction is going to be from the southeast, but you can be sure that the sea is coming from the northwest or the west. So you're going to have the seas will be heaping up, getting very uncomfortable. And the reason I say from the northwest is because those big winds generated the seas coming across from this low. So it's more than likely they're getting very uncomfortable seas, particularly for Explorer. Maybe not so much from these because at the top, because the wind is a lot less. So then you can see what happens here. I'm moving around a bit, just showing you the definition of the low pressure system moving. I've pulled it back now to real time now. This is what we've got now. And it looks as if, maybe Lionel wasted a bit of effort to take out to the west and get across now, because he's got a northwesterly, but these guys have got a westerly, right? And that's pretty nice. It's reaching on the starboard tack. But with this low coming further south, this is where Lionel is going to win out now. So the next 12 hours, you're going to see, the effort for the Spirit to get out of there is going to pay off. You can see the wind now here. These guys are going to get southwest, and it may even swing on the nose as this comes down. But Lionel, he's got the heavier winds on the beam, so he'll go faster. And I think now in the next 12, 24 hours, you'll see him potentially increase the gap and pull away from that fleet. You can see all the way down there, right where Lionel is. He's directly south of the low. He's coming due south. The wind's on the beam or on the starboard quarter. Whereas these guys, see what's happening? It's going to be further in the bow. Outlaw looks as if she might luck out badly. She's going to be on the wrong side of the low, possibly. This is by 8 o'clock tonight. She might extend south a bit, but she might fall further behind than Triana and Neptune. And Neptune, they might pay off a little bit over here. So we'll watch this space with great interest, but there's some good tactics going on there. And we like to see some winners and losers in the mid-fleet. For Explorer, she's looking okay. She's going to hold the breeze as they go forward. It's going to be on the beam. The sea's going to get a bit crazy because now it's going to get a very confused sea coming from both directions. So she might make some interesting tweets. Guys up the back, they should have a reasonable run by the look of it going forward. We're now getting into 24 hours ahead. They'll have quite nice sailing conditions. And very quickly, this low falls apart, opens up, and the strong winds disappear. The sea will hang around for another day and so on. So quite interesting. And certainly the lead pack here. They're through. They'll just be going gangbusters. And in fact, we've ended up here, so I'll talk about them and we'll walk our way back through the fleet. So it's all over for the lead fleet. They've got no drama. They're now just hanging on to the breeze and sailing really well. So Spirit of Helsinki doing 10 knots at the moment, making pretty good ground and hanging on just to Penduic. They're within striking distance for sure. And to give you an idea on that, we'll just give you a measurement to show you how far away they are. It's not that far at all. So there you've got it. They're about 16 miles apart after the first week. So this is going to be fun for line honours. And then the others, we can give a what I call a course distance, because they're all pretty much heading the same way. So here we've got, I would estimate that to be for, what have we got here? So for Maiden, she's really only about, real terms, only about 15 miles behind Penduic, because that's the direction they're heading. So still totally within striking distance. And then the same for Translated on a par. This is a great race, and I've got no idea what's going to happen. But certainly if we now pan out to show you the future weather, let's just see, and this will hold true for the whole fleet. I'll get rid of that. I'm just going for the big picture to see what's going to happen in the next few days. Here we go forward one day. There's 24 hours. Plenty of breeze. We've gone through that in the mid fleet. The leaders, if you can see that, it's nice. It's sort of like a Portuguese trade wind hanging down there. We go through to another day on the 18th. It's going to go light, so the leaders might slow down a bit. The tail end, the mid fleet and tail enders average, and certainly overall probably, their trade winds just on the 19th, so 3 days out. They've got a nice breeze. They're coming into this northeasterly trade wind, take them through the Canaries and so on. So no big dramas, that's for sure. Got a little. Usually I go through this in a bit of a different format, but we'll now just go through all the numbers of each of the boats. We'll start with the lead boats. So Translated, currently first in IRC, first in flyer class, and making 9 knots, and she's done 173 nautical miles in the last 24 hours. I'll just pull this graphic back for real-time weather. Maiden, she's doing 10.2 knots. She'd be loving this. And third in line honours, second in IRC, second in flyer class, and done 182 nautical miles in the last 24 hours. Penduic, he's doing 10.4 knots, so fastest in the fleet for sure. First in line honours, fourth in IRC, third in flyer class, and 168 nautical miles in the last 24 hours. And Spirit of Helsinki, 10.1 knots, so it's exactly the same. So, no, Penduic is 3.3 of a knot faster, average over the last 4 hours. Second line honours, third in IRC, and first in Sailor class. So, all very interesting, and that's a tight group. This is the interesting one at the moment, for sure. Just to play out Lionel's move to the west, 9.7 knots. 162 nautical miles, which is pretty good because he was pushing to weather on some of that. And fifth in line honours, sixth in IRC, fourth in flyer class. Then we've got Triana. She's flying. She's actually pulling things out of there way above her pay grade for sure. 7.6 knots. Seventh in IRC. I would have thought she'd be higher than that. But anyway. Fifth in flyer class. So, sorry, that's Neptune. We've clicked across there on top of each other. So Neptune 7.6 and sixth in line honours, seventh in IRC, and fifth in flyer class. Now, if I can hit Triana, yeah. Oh wow, she's only fifth in IRC. I thought she was okay. So Triana's doing 8.6, making the most of it, and done 137 in the last 24 hours. Seventh in line honours, fifth in IRC. First in adventure class, for sure. Way ahead of the game. Outlaws dropped back a bit from where she was 24 hours ago. 6.4 knots and 81 nautical miles in the last 24 hours. Eighth in line honours, eighth in IRC, second in adventure class. So we'll watch what happens from there. But remember, the wind's going to swing ahead for that. Come on, we've got an internet issue here. Well, they've all disappeared. Here we go. So then Explorer. 4.5 knots in reasonable breezes. 9th in line honours, 9th in IRC, and 2nd in Sailor class. So very consistent. I think she's been 9th and 9th ever since the start. But anyway, that's cool. Doing okay. Sterner, 3.8 knots, 40 miles in the last 24 hours. They've been lacking breeze and a few other things. 12th in line honours, 12th IRC, 4th in adventure class. Then Evrika hanging in back there, 6.1 knots, 97 in the last 24 hours. 11th in line honours, 11th IRC, and 3rd in Sayula class. And then Tapio, I think this is, Galliana would secure 3.9 knots, 10th in line honours, 10th in IRC, 3rd in adventure class, and 111 miles. White Shadow, another Swan 57, 5.1 knots and minus 34 miles in the last 24 hours. Okay, that could be a glitch. So, you know, remembering it's a vector made good, or velocity made good to the next waypoint, and she has gone a long way out to the west. So, but it still looks like a bit of a glitch. So I wouldn't rely too much on that. But 14th, and 14th IRC, 14th overall, and 4th in Sayula class. And Godspeed 5.8, they're screaming, and they're 13th in line honours, 13th IRC, 5th in adventure class, and 43 miles in the last 24 hours. So that's really about it. But certainly fun to watch with this low coming through. Stops it getting boring. Some interesting tactics, and generally the big impact of some of this big breeze is being managed very well by the fleet. If these guys come out here and they find huge winds, as soon as they get the favourable wind direction, which looks like they haven't got yet, as soon as they do, in the next 4-hour update, you'll see they'll be heading due south. They'll just lock into this, and they won't go deep into it. They'll be out. They know that it's quiet this side and heavy that side. So as they're sailing, if it's starting to pick up too much, you'll see them come a little bit to the east, or if it's getting too soft, they'll go a little bit to the west and just ride those northerlies down. But as I say, the sea state is quite substantial. This is 7-8 meter seas here, and you know, even though the pressure gradient is showing a bit hard to define and suggesting that they're not getting the winds that the graphic shows, because Galliana's only doing 3.9, you can be sure that they're getting very interesting seas, and I think you'll see that in the tweets. So that's really about it. I'll just come back and check for any comments and so on. We're getting quite a few people lock onto this, not live, but they follow it later on when they get around to it. We're still pushing about 5,000 people on Facebook and YouTube combined. Hello, Ada, and we see you, we hear you. That's good. Yeah, I wasn't seeing that graphic at the beginning. Morning, Caroline. There should be a health warning on this race. It's so addictive. It's only just begun. The funny part is later on, at times we increase the tracker from 4 hours down to 1 hour, and everyone starts complaining. So, oh, why'd you do that? Because now I've got to look at it every bloody hour. Anyway, but yeah, it's fun. And g'day, Kylie. Yep, thanks. And Jane's there. Yeah, she's not here at the moment. She's working at home. I'm in the office. Ada's here too, doing videos. But anyway, morning, Noel. That's about it. No questions. Remember, if you've got any questions, stick them in the question and answer, and I'll answer them as soon as we've got enough. So, okay, that's it from me. Thanks for following, and we're thinking of the entrance. It's funny, every night I go to bed now, because when you're a sailor, right, you're out there, often when you're out there and it's pretty grim, you think of all those lucky people that are tucking up into crisp clean sheets and all those sorts of things at night time. So I often think of the cruise at night. And the other one is, you know, as a sailor, you often look up and you see a plane go over jet stream. You think, oh, they're sitting there having a nice meal. So anyway, different emotions for different things. All good. We'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks very much.